So what I wanted to do today to address this question of branding across media and across platforms was share with you guys one case study of a single project. So the first thing that we talk about with all of our clients when we approach a branding project is exactly where design fits into the whole ecosystem of a brand. At the center of any business, of any venture, is the leadership. There's always a founder or a core kind of governing body that possess the vision and the passion and really sort of, the whole motivation behind the initiative. And then around the leadership are the people that the leadership inspire. And then around that is the product. So we like to think that good leadership helps motivate good people and that good people are motivated to create great product. And then around that is design. We talk about, first of all, who's the client, right? So what are the interests of the client? In this case, it's a restaurant. It's a Vietnamese sandwich shop in San Francisco. The owner, she wanted to launch this business. She had a vision for what she wanted that to be. The next thing is the audience. So, who are you trying to reach? What are they interested in? And people are diverse, and they're interested in many things. Only a small portion of that will overlap with the things that the client is interested in. We look for those areas of overlap and just, we put aside the other stuff because we can't be all things to all people. And then the third area is context. And context varies. So in the case of this restaurant, the context is the location, essentially, because it's a location-based business. And so we look at the idea of a brand as being where the interests of the client and the interests of the audience intersect with the context in which a thing exists. The importance of that, I think, is that if you are occupying this sort of unique little position, then just by nature of the fact that it's defined by these three intersecting concerns, it's going to be different than anyone else. Even a similar shop in a similar location targeting similar people, it's never exactly the same. The idea of being able to create a position for a brand, a place that it can occupy, a territory that it can claim that is distinct from any other, I think is really critically important. For most small businesses, and even some larger businesses, we try and start with the logo because it's the most tangible thing. You see that logo and you're like, oh yes, that identifies my business. It gives them a lot of reassurance and makes them feel good. So we start with the logo as the first presentation. We thought it could be interesting to do the sort of scooter motif because if you've been to Vietnam or any Southeast Asian city, the streets are just absolutely clogged with motorcycles, scooters, bicycles, and yet you see a lot of those same things, especially scooters and bicycles around San Francisco. We also looked at sort of traditional Vietnamese calligraphy, and we also looked at doing something that was a bit more geometric, something that got into a bit more of the provenance of the food, making it feel more on the farm end of things, as opposed to something that was really polished. When we presented these to the client, and these are all sort of, initially shown on a neutral background, neutral color. We don't want there to be any influence between a logo that's red and a logo that's blue, and have the client pick the blue one because they prefer blue over red. We want them to focus really on the content and the message and worry about the other details of color and execution later. The clients are coming to designers to help them make these decisions. And so just saying, oh, here's 50 things, what do you like best, kind of is abdicating your responsibility in my view. And so we've never gotten to the point where we say, well, we're just going to show you one and that's the right recommendation. I think it still needs to be more interactive and collaborative than that. But we do want to sort of have a point of view and some recommendations. We have a really simple test to figure out if a logo is good or great, whether you like it or love it, and we call it the T-shirt test. You just stick it on a T-shirt, and if you would wear that T-shirt, then it's probably a good logo. So we always kind of show it in this context. Now, whether it's good for your business or not, that's a bigger strategic conversation. The last thing I wanted to say about designing across media is to really think what media means. So there's the media in the traditional sense. There's print, there's online, there's social media, there's also things like signage and environments, there's the words you choose, but there's also just how you are, the attitude you have, the personality you have, how you answer the phone.
Thank you for calling Bud Me on Film. How can I help you?
The idea is that every touch point, every time that you have any interaction with the brand on any level, it should be deliberate, not overly designed, not overly controlled, but really conscious.